Hello, it is Diane Cox here again, back for some tarot, and I've had a request to do a question for one of my subscribers, and the question is on nuclear strike, specifically from America, the Biden regime, onto Russia. So I've shuffled the cards because, as I say, watching me with my eyes closed, shuffling the cards. You don't have to do that, do you? So I have shuffled the cards and held that in my heart, and connected with the cosmic grid on the channels that may lead to that kind of stuff. The minute I closed my eyes and said, okay, nuclear kind of attack or nuclear war, this literally fell out, which makes so much sense, doesn't it? Because you'd hope anyone would be conflicted and uncertain and in chaos about knowingly doing something that is so terribly, terribly wrong for the world, for humanity, for the environment. I always find it fascinating. And I'm sure I've said this before, how they go on about the environment and climate change and then proceed to do things that are catastrophic for the environment. I don't know if you saw all those fish, the wildfires, the stuff in New York. I've seen some interesting videos on that smoke in New York. And people who live 5 hours above New York never saw any smoke. The Canadian smoke didn't kind of come over the border, and they only lived 2.5 hours on the border. So how did it get to America? I am sure, to New York, I am sure you've all thought the same thing, because we are thinking people these days and we don't trust what we're told, and we go, how can that be then? How did that actually happen? And so I'm not surprised. The Five of Swords, as I often say, it can be, it's chaos, but I often say, are they fighting? Are they dancing? Are they trying to erect something? Are they to fate? Are they trying to put up scaffolding? I think the main thing is here is, as you can see, it's chaos. There's no leadership. There's no one in charge. It looks like a lot of amateurs trying to do something without a proper plan. I think the whole reading could stop there, couldn't it? A load of amateurs doing something, all compromised, as we see in governments, the American government, well, not all of them. So that's where we start. The significator fell out. So let us see what crosses it. Okay, that's good. Now remember, I'm doing this from the point of view of the querent here, the person who asked. So then we've got the sun. So the sun crosses the Five of Wands, a very beneficial effect. There's some brightness, there's some how I see that tonight as I'm doing this is like there's rays of illumination that are coming through. There are rays of how the sun can burn and can do kind of damage, and the sun can grow and germinate and bring life into being. So I would say that card, generally in tarot it's conceived as a very positive card. It's happy, it's jolly, it's kind of devil may care. I shouldn't say devil may care with the sun. The sun may care. It's a bright card, so that's an interesting positive card crossing the chaos of the Five of Wands. So what is the overarching card? Okay, wow, that's quite good. Or not quite good, it's very good. So here we have the Nine of Pentacles. It's about leaving a legacy. It's about gathering to you. It's about the result after struggle. There's been a struggle, there's been ups and downs. In the Mythic Tarot, this is a story of Daedalus. He lost everything and had to rebuild it. And the Nine of Pentacles is when he's been accepted back into a society, and everybody is again getting to know him. So as the overarching card, I'd go, okay, that's very positive. It's like, okay, you've come through some tough times, there's been some tough, hard difficulties here, but the overarching card says, and again, if it was reversed, you might think, oh, a legacy that is very unpleasant, but it's upright. So it's the the gathering around. There's something to celebrate. I'm feeling very chuffed and happy and pleased with oneself. The foot of the root of the question is the 8 of Pentacles here. Sorry, not the 8, the 7, because he's looking at himself. He's kind of looking at what he's achieved, but it's like, yeah, I've worked hard and I've achieved this, but it kind of still feels unsatisfactory. So at the base of this question, we're talking about America attacking, say, Russia. That was the question, the querent, and it's like at the root of it, and obviously I'm overviewing it from the point of view of the person who asked me to do this reading. So at the bottom of it, there's a bit of dissatisfaction, there's an uncertainty still, there's a bit of grumbling, there's a bit of, don't know, I'm a bit unsure about this, I know I've done a lot. So from a nuclear question, it's like, okay, there's obviously conflicts and chaos. The Sun is a very positive, some kind of maybe sensible person within the American regime is kind of, bringing some sense. The 9 is like, okay, a positive legacy of not doing it, I would say. And at the bottom of it, but still there's grumblings that, maybe there's some people that do. Well, there obviously are some people that do. I sometimes think, men and war, it's a very bizarre thing, isn't it? Men and war. I sometimes think, now, if women were predominantly in charge in the world, making all the decisions, and the ones above the New World Order, the people really pulling the strings, if they were women, how would they fight? Because it wouldn't be blow each other up, because it's just not in women's nature. Normal, balanced women are caring and concerned, kind and compassionate. I know they have their dark side. Maybe the dark side would kind of come out and they'd all be just mental and doing all kinds of stuff. But you just hope, isn't there like some, where's all the kindness in the world? Where's all the compassion? Where's all the, this weird thing? It's like, anyway, let's get back to the question. What influenced this situation in the past? Oh, okay, that's a great one. That really does make sense. The 10 of Wands. Someone became really good at something and got lots of work and was very proficient, and then it became a real burden. It became heavy. It became difficult to handle. And even though it has to be taken into the marketplace, that's actually really quite funny when you think about it, isn't it? Because if you're thinking about America, they've kind of burdened themselves with their own debt, the dollar, people now wanting to escape from the dollar, and obviously America's very interested, as they were. I think it was 1990 where America was planning to attack Russia and split up all its its country and its resources. You have to look into this whole history, and as I often say, you've got to keep your bias out of your readings. But that's interesting because America has kind of burdened itself, hasn't it, with kind of taking on being the boss of the world, basically. All the countries that America's gone into and done these colour revolutions. Gone in, taken the resources, promised these countries that they'll have the money, like Venezuela. Venezuela's got more oil than Saudi Arabia, but the Americans went in, and America's in poverty because of all the agreements that were made and that didn't turn out too favourable for America. And, you just have to say these things. It's just history. It's not bias, it's just history. Venezuela is incredibly oil rich and they can't barely feed themselves. So it's quite an interesting thing. And I think that is a very good card regarding the past of, this situation, looking from my querent's point of view and the American attacking Russia point of view. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. So the card in the future is Judgment reversed. Okay. Now, this is really interesting because judgment upright, as you probably well know, is a rebirth. It's a kind of acknowledging, it's a healing, it's a being judged, and therefore it's like knowing what your karma is and neutralizing your karma and being reborn from it. It's about doing the work, doing the healing, and here comes a brand new opportunity to rise again, and being called by the angels to come into the next almost incarnation, if you like, to be called to be the new you, the new whatever, the new situation. So think of it as reversed, okay? And I won't say non-judgment. It's kind of judgment on its head. What is judgment on its head? Now, I think, again, regarding this situation, you see in America that there is so much inversion. There's so much that should be judged, which is not judged. The opportunity for a new birth, a new beginning, to kind of do the right thing and to come forward is not yet there. The rebirth isn't there. It's not kind of coming to fruition. There's still kind of old habits, and old habits die hard. This is what I'm getting tonight as I think about it, and I think about nuclear war and nuclear attack. It's like, okay, there's like a bit of a collapse of judgment. That's how I'm kind of seeing it and feeling it. There's a deconstruction of judgment. There's almost like gone past judgment. There isn't even a something in place to sit down and be reborn and do the sparkly right thing and whatever. So I would say for the whole reading, judgment reversed, that is like, there could be a temptation there. There could be to almost, invert things and go and turn it upside down. Okay, what does turning it upside down mean when you think of an attack? It's like, okay, it kind of feels like no. Maybe they'll be surprised by an incoming attack. Maybe. I'll kind of think about that while I do the other cards. Where does America find itself? How does it identify with this situation? Okay, what comes up here is a Four of Swords. It feels like maybe some people in government, because when you say the Americans or the Russians or whatever, we always have to remember it's not all of them. We're not talking about a collective nationality. We're talking about the people who are in charge. And there's been many Americans that won't support the government. There's, it's not just American altogether. Anyone really supporting nuclear attack from any side is, again, it's funny how I've been doing videos with Dr. Robert Sands about conflict resolution and everything, and you just see this like chaos and this randomness that just isn't about resoluting. It's about people being narcissistic and wanting what they want and just going, okay, well, I want this, so I want to get it, and we want that, so we'll do what we want to do. And I don't know, it's like very infantile, isn't it? It's very childish. Sorry, going back to this, where's say America on this or the nuclear thing? It's in a state of repose. It's had to withdraw. It has to take time and go, okay, I need to think about this. I really need to go, okay, let me just see if this is right. I need to meditate on it. I need time out. I need, to get rid of all these influences that are around me. I need to go and sit. And so that's quite good, I think, because it's like, okay, there's a real kind of, do we want to go down in history as being the people who initiated nuclear attack? And it's quite interesting, again, isn't it? Because you look at history and you look at Pearl Harbor, and it's almost unfeasible to think someone who's been through that would actually do that to someone else. But then, as we know, hurt people. And unless you're doing deep work on the self, and unless you've got honesty and integrity running through governments all over the world, this dishonesty and this mentalness. This psychopathy, as I see it, will just carry, this narcissistic psychopathy just goes, because the people who get promoted and favoured are just people that fall in line with the psychopathic line or the narcissistic line with the government they're working for. And obviously people who say no just get pushed away, pushed out. So how do other people see America? How do other people see America? Okay, that's quite interesting. 8 of Swords. So people looking from the outside in, looking at America and considering, is America going to attack Russia, for instance, with a nuclear weapon? People looking in just go, are they blind? Are they tangled up with themselves? Are they unable to move? Are they just like in bondage? Yes. And you look at that and it's like, okay, that's how the rest of the world is seeing America at the moment with this thought of attack. So that's a very interesting thing, seeing the 8 of Swords. As I often say with the 8 of Swords, it is harsh. It feels like there's nowhere to go. You're blinded. You can't see what you're doing. You are tied up. You're almost tongue-tied, twisted, in a real state of discombobulation. These swords look like they're penning you in. You can't go anywhere. There's a whole kind of border and boundary around you, and yet, as I always say, there's nothing in front of this person. They can just walk forward and go around and find safety in that kind of a castle that you see in the background. So other people could be looking at America just going, what is going on? They are really in a mess. They really are wrapped up, blind to their own ego. I think a lot of this about world politics, it's about ego, isn't it? You know, it's like, anyway, we won't go into that. As interesting as it is, all you have to do is look at history. Is history true? Then that's a whole other kind of thing. Who's manipulated history? Oh, anyway. So hopes and fears in this kind of thing. Oh, no, this is great. Hopes. I think that's a hope. Justice. Hope that justice is done. That these people grow up. That there's some... there's some kind of, again, some intelligence that comes into these situations. That there is someone sitting there going, no, absolutely not. This is ridiculous. It's kind of, you need someone with that sense of right and wrong, sense of protecting humanity over the individual ego and people trying to cover up their heinous crimes. It's like, no, we're not going to cover you up. You're not going to be covered anymore. We're not going to hide this anymore. We want justice and we want truth. We want transparency. We want honesty. We want openness. And we want the people who are threatening humanity, men, women, children, animals, trees, oceans, mountains, the people that are threatening that beautiful, harmonious earth really need to be taken to task. They need to be put in a mental asylum, given extensive therapy and a lot of toys to play with, and just kind of taken away until right-minded people who aren't constantly compromised and bought and bribed, honest people. I don't know if it would ever work, They say in Atlantis it did, in Lemuria it did, in Mu. So why can't we just all get along, as the film says? If you ever see Mars Attacks, when the aliens are talking to the president, who's Jack Nicholson. I won't tell you what happens. I wouldn't want to spoil it for you. Okay, what's the outcome? Oh, you couldn't make this stuff up, could you? There's the outcome. You'd have to go, yeah. Yeah, they're going to do it. They can't. I tell you, this is such a great reading. It's like they're obsessed by a dark force. I truly believe that. And obviously, just the people who are making the decisions, they're obsessed possessed by a dark force. And until this dark force is wrestled to the ground, it continues to pull the strings and bring out the darkest, animalistic, spiteful cruelness in people. So after that lovely reading, I go, oh, okay, the outcome's the devil. They can't get over themselves. They'd rather take down all of humanity rather than the ego or those dark forces, basically lose out. And if you're into the whole spirituality and you know about the spiritual war that's going on, the whole war for your soul, this whole war at the moment between the dark and the light, between good and evil. And we're all having to make a choice between how we act and how we want to celebrate our souls. We either celebrate it with something like this: we are the sun, we are life-giving light, we are illuminated, we bring light, life and happiness, we help things grow, we illuminate and enlighten, all that kind of stuff. Or we choose this. We choose the dark. We choose to be a slave to our own greed, our own depravity, our own kind of ego, and not only a normal ego, a twisted kind of ego that would happily destroy everything around it. It's a bit like that monster in Lord of the Rings. It would rather take Gandalf down with him and take the whole world down. But with that, at the end, I'd go, well, maybe they will. There's something about that energy regarding America. There's I really think this. I really think there's a very dark force working through a lot of the top governments in the world. It's like they're all part of a cult that they can't get free from. And well, I've seen lots of people and interviews about what they can't get free from. If you've read anything about, what goes on regarding literally worshipping this and all the rituals that go along with it, you'll know there's some dastardly, terrible forces in those realms, and working through people. And the key is here to be light. Be the light. Be the light. Be the flame. Be the lighthouse. Be the guide. Do not let yourself be turned by, thinking that what you're told is decent and should be accepted is unacceptable. Okay, so it's a real fight for your mind and the fight for moral balance, moral harmony. I think that's a real huge thing at the moment. Staying away from this energy, really staying away, being the star, being the light, being the sun, standing up for moral integrity, standing up for decency, and standing up for community and unity in the best way possible. So after all that, do I think America is going to go for it? I think it could. I think it could get to the point where, I don't know if you can do mini nuclear strikes, I'm not sure. I watched a video yesterday about a kind of stealth drone that has bombs attached to it, and it's got something like mirrors at the top and LEDs at the bottom, and basically they've or some kind of cameras, and they've filmed the sky and then basically mirror it onto the vessel. And it just looks like sky because it's covered in these mirrors that just reflect the sky, or cameras. So who knows what will happen? Maybe they'll try something. It looks like someone there is desperate to do it, and desperate to, again, please their dark, craving, revengeful, jealous, and kind of, like I say, depraved, despairing wishes and desires. So yeah, it's not even reversed. So that's the outcome. So thank you for that question. That was lovely to have a question come in and have a look see what it says. So let's see. And let's see if people overcome their devilish, excuse me, their devilish nature. and think of humanity and think of saving the billions of people on Earth. So, oh, excuse me. Let me take a little sip of tea, taro and tea. Here's my little cup. That's where we need to be. Love grows here. So thank you for watching, and like I say, thanks for that question, and let's keep our eyes peeled. Be the best you can be, fill your heart with love and light, and exude goodness and exude positivity. I know sometimes it's hard to be positive, but just keep your personal piece of paradise full of love and light, and let's keep an eye on that. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully there won't be a mini strike on Russia. Hopefully America will lasso themselves in. But that devil is a little bit of a dark influence, to say the least. So thank you. Thanks for watching. I will be back soon. Cheers. Bye.